We've seen so much of this, and by now, we know what it means. The solution is clear. We must reduce our carbon emissions. But this is more complicated for some industries compared to others.
All of us are always working towards reducing our emissions as a first priority. There will always be residual emissions, especially in hard-to-abate sectors. And this is where we can actually use carbon credits to offset or compensate for that residual emissions.
Heavy industries face greater challenges to decarbonize simply because of their complicated processes and high cost to new technologies. But carbon credits may help ease their transition. So, what are they and how do they work? Forests play an important role in our decarbonization journey, removing large amounts of carbon dioxide and greenhouse gases in the air. About 30% of Earth's surface is covered in green, but this number is set to drop dramatically. In fact, we have lost about 420 million hectares of forest over the past 30 years due to an accumulation of human activities. That's about the size of the European Union. Nature and technology-based projects play a role to cope with the effects of our disappearing forests. This is where carbon credits come into the mix.
Carbon credits are a financial instrument that helps to catalyze decarbonization. One way to think about it is that you can actually play a role in terms of buying a carbon credit to actually finance projects that help to reduce, avoid, or remove carbon emissions from the atmosphere. An example would be, say, a forestry project in Brazil or in Indonesia that actually helps to conserve and restore these natural ecosystems that we have.
So carbon credits are essentially this: a currency that companies can buy to offset their own carbon emissions. This gives companies, especially those from hard-to-abate sectors, a chance to indirectly offset their emissions through funding solutions that help us decarbonize.
A lot of climate technologies that exist today are actually at very high price points. To sort of bring it down, you're actually helping to pay for the technological scalability as well as commercialization.
This exchange happens on what's called a carbon marketplace.
To actually be able to transact carbon credits with a lot of conviction, you need a marketplace and an exchange to be able to have efficient transactions, as well as a lot of transparency around prices, around the projects, around data, around the ratings of it, as well as where the projects are actually making an impact.
And Climate Impact X, or CIX, is one such carbon marketplace.
CIX has the bravery to ask impact and then profitability. Not no profitability, you still gotta pay people's salary, but we have the agility to dare to ask impact. And impact comes with trust and comes with quality.
Born out of a partnership between DBS, Singapore Exchange, Standard Chartered, and Temasek, CIX aims to help companies drive environmental impact through trusted carbon credits.
In everything we do, we have to bring trust in, whether it's the product, the execution of the product, how you use the product, all of that has to be right. And that means there needs to be a lot of education. It has to be getting people to understand the value of this, what carbon credits are and are not. But the vision is always very, very clear. We get to get some money back into some of these amazing projects.
From projects that sequester carbon from the air to massive reforestation projects, CIX ultimately hopes for greater impact through the use of a carbon marketplace.
And I'm much, much more worried that we as a society, we as a world will wake up too late to that problem. And by then, once too many species are gone, once too many ecosystems are destroyed, there's no back. So when you talk about that urgency, it's got to tie back to the really, really simple things around how much am I responsible for.
Greener technologies and solutions are continuing to mature, but business cannot go on as usual. We must know that carbon credits are only the beginning for companies to start decarbonizing their operations. Change is needed to ensure a collective responsibility towards decarbonization.
I think every little thing that you do actually plays a role, and I like to emphasize that it's a journey for us to actually really create impact and actually make this planet a more sustainable one. So don't let perfection be the enemy of good. And I think having that change in mindset will actually help to encourage us to do actually more good than harm.